surfing. Rashes. Oh, yeah. Baby, I can't get enough. Blitz. Ain't that so presents
Pure Tour Nerdism. Yes, welcome to Blitzed, Pure Tour Nerdism. The Bells Beach Pro is a wrap, and it was as good as a Bells event as I can remember. Rinsed corn. The waves are in the perfect size range for the bowl throughout the event window. 4 to 6 foot, couple of big ones. Consistent enough to give all competitors plenty of opportunity. Round one in the onshore, I thought was exceptional. I reckon Bells is almost better when it's got a bit of wind on it, but still clean on the face. So much push and punch, big slingshots into a huge bowl, just begging to be hacked to bits. So if you want to see the pointy end of full-blooded carves, hacks, and snaps, go back and watch round one of the men's. We got the groomed variety of offshore bells. We got a fun, albeit slow day at Super Dreamy Winky Pop. And the final again in that kind of light onshore that I think favours Bells. A little bit slow for the men's final, but all in all, an epic showcase of old school power surfing with some new school theatrics thrown in the mix. I went a 4.95 out of 5. It's 2 on the trot for the Waz. They absolutely scored in El Salvador, which we didn't cover, obviously, because we were on tour. But, you know, we'll cover in brief throughout this episode. But, yeah, what did you make of it?
Fully. I've been going down to Bells for a long time, Smithy, since I was 17. It was my first assignment with Trax Mag after I just left Mullum High. Got down there, just eyes like dinner plates going, fuck, can't believe I'm here. You know, there's Occy, there's freaking Slater, there's Machado. Like, it was a dream. But, man, like, after all these years, like, the best Bells kind of are the ones where you get a bit of everything, like bubble and squeak. Just scoop the fucking whatever trudge you can get out of the bottom of the pot, whack it in another pot, stir it all together, and then just ring the bell at the end when it's ready. And, I backed it heavily. The overall feel at the comp was real joyful. Like, the surfers, for the most part, I'd say 90% of them were frothing to surf onshore Bells, bit of winks. Really the only surfer who kind of got stitched by the proper big lull was Morgan Cibilic, which we'll get into. But all in all, everyone had plenty of opportunities, got to showcase a whole range of different sort of strengths. And it had it all, man. There were heats that were won on pure strategy, and there were heats that were just full-blown demo jobs by someone just on a fucking hot one, Smithy. I gave it a 4.9. I think the only 0.1 would be fucking Kanoa and Morgie's semi-final, mate. Like, oh, how bad did you want him to get a fucking wave? Couldn't buy one, dude. Couldn't even, like, literally that heat had not even a scrap that he could have paddled on the inside and got. Like, he surfed it as good as you could surf it strategy-wise. You know, like, if he took those little ones that Kanoa was taking, they were heaps of shit, man. There was a reason why Kanoa was falling off him. But that's my little 0.1 off as well. I'll go with you. 4.9 all the way. And again, you know, like the whole just fucking experience of being down there for that comp. It's just not like other comps. It's just not. Like, you're down there, there's so much going on. Everyone's in party mode. The whole town is really proud of that comp. So everyone's in a good mood. Like, it's sick, man. And we kicked it off with that Ain't That Swell show down there. And fuck, I don't know about you, mate, but I thought that was one of the all-time classics. Like, the crew in there were frothing. Mason fucking Ross went nuts. But having EE come in, Ewing! What about that from the crowd as we introduced him onto the stage? Like, Ewing! I just went mad. It caught him so off guard and put him in the psychoest mood that even the next day when I saw him, he was like, bruh, that was sick. And, you know, he wasn't really feeling that into it when he first turned up. You could tell we were like kind of just off the plane from El Sal, just a little bit crook over there. He just wasn't feeling it. And the Swellians fucking brought him into the room, man. It was sick.
Yeah, and obviously had to surf the next day in the event, so not ideal. But at the same time, interesting to, you know, meet Ethan for the first time behind the scenes and clock him as a character. And he is like a very quintessential familiar kind of character that exists in abundance in Australia. Just a laid back, North Stratty, North Coast kind of energy, non-plus, not into the fanfare, but, quietly frothing, a really like solid Australian surf character, a surfing archetype, if you will. It was cool to connect with him, and fuck, we had some fun up there. What a night that was. And Torquay is like, it is kind of the spiritual home. It's where we really kicked it off with the shenanigans, with the goat. And there's always been just such a solid connection there and so much froth there for that event. It was a fucking cracker. But getting into the best wave, Vaughan, it is double E, double dunk, Ethan Ewing in the round of 16 up against O'Leary's Bra, laying down the best tracks we've ever seen in the bowl. A remarkable performance. And get this, 3 waves, 3 excellent scores, a 9.43, a 9.33, and an 8.5. They were his only contributions in that heat. Pure excellence. The 9.33 we can get into first. Does his signature wind up into a warp speed carve out of the top where he does this full Tokyo drift as he's coming around the hairpin, fully intentional, like the outermost limit of controlled precision and speed in a turn. It was so radical. You can watch it on a continuous loop, that turn. Flows that straight into another hypnotic current-esque wind-up and drops the clutch and just fucking demos the coping with that signature layback snap to drift. He actually accelerates just as he's reaching the coping and hits the section with the absolute maximum force and speed he can generate. The was slow-mo of that turn is fucking insane. Go and cop it again. Then, the 9.43 really was the biggest mic drop you'll ever see in the bowl. Cunt lays down the most scintillating 3-turn combo in the history of this spot and doesn't even bother milking it to the inside to hit the shore. Full credit to him because, had he milked it to the inside, maybe he gets an extra smidgen of a point that puts it up into that perfect 10 range, but bouncing through to the inside would have just sullied what was one of the great moments in the history of power surfing. I'm glad he didn't.
Same. Yeah, he couldn't have mic dropped it harder. Like, he couldn't have said, fuck you, I'm not going onto the inside any better if he just pulled those little perky cheeks apart and just pointed the fucking corn directly at the judging tower. It was the best claim of all time, in my view. Best claim ever. Like, what more can I fucking do on this wave? There is nothing, mate. Sully is the word, man. I actually said to him in the post-heat interview, Smithy, it was a fucking mate. It was the furthest thing from a post-heat interview in the history of the was. All I did was just fall to my knees and just Wayne's World the cunt for fucking 3 minutes. We're not worthy. And I said to him, like, mate, I'm so glad you didn't just disgrace that wave and that performance by bunny hopping and weaving on the inside for a tappy tap tap on the inside. Fuck, it was cool, man. I think the big takeaway for me is these judges need to get a sense of occasion, man. Like, fuck, like everyone on that entire beach and amphitheater seeing it in real time knew that was a 10. And it bums me out that, like, we're probably going to see a 10 at the fucking on the Goldie for a backside air rev by Italo or a fucking front side air. And I'm like, mate, show me better power surfing than that. Like, from start to finish. You won't show me. But Occy, that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah, let's relive it. So turn 1 is that signature power jam in the pocket on a really cupped out section where he really does well to fit the turn in perfectly. He snaps it so hard in the pocket with so much down the line momentum, keeps the nose out of the water, goes straight into a super tight roundhouse in the pocket, which he somehow turns into a backside snap on the foam ball, which was an amazing piece of surfing because he gets that cosmic speed squirt from the foam ball and just fucking decimates the final section with the turn of the event, the turn of the year, very likely. A vertical layback snap to perfectly controlled board slide done with unprecedented power, speed, and control. Rides out smooth as can be into the mic drop kick out. And I can reveal, Vaughan, that the WAS has actually tracked the spray from that last turn with its satellite spray tracker. And apparently it has just passed Vladivostok and is heading east towards Chernobyl, carving out a green valley of apple trees in its wake. So well played, Double E.
fuck, what a wave, man. Like, yeah, as you say, I think at the time, I was just thinking, wow, this guy is fucking just in sync. Like, it felt like at that point, you just weren't going to see anyone stop him. And yeah, as I said, after the interview, I said to him, like, hey, man, I was almost going to say to you, Eth, let me just spare you doing any talking because I know it's not your thing and I'll just fucking go for it. And he had a full laugh. And you could tell he was feeling it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't lost on him what he'd done out there. So humble as he may be, once I started like getting right in his face about just what that felt like to watch, he actually allowed himself to acknowledge what that felt like to surf. It was really cool, man. Fuck, it was cool. Like, it's pretty rare to get him sort of bubbly and loose and laughing and all of that on camera. So that was a pretty cool moment for me personally, because I was just like, mate, this thing needs to be fucking stuck in a frame and immortalized. I think I said at one point, that's a heat that will echo through eternity. But it was like that. We'll talk about that forever, man. That's like John at Margie's and Occy in the bowl, like Slater at Pipeline, Andy at Chopes. Like, it's in that combo.
Well said, well said. And yeah, as humble as he is, he's not afraid to acknowledge the kind of surfing that he's doing, which is a rad thing. And it's interesting too, like you talk about him loosening up. Like, I actually feel like the show did that in a weird way. Because, what that show does, it fucking connects you to the pure core of Australian surfing. You're in a room with a full spectrum of Australian surfers, and it's just piss-taking shenanigans, and you can't help but loosen up a bit. And we've seen it in the past, Slater carrying that energy into the event, and it felt like, yeah, it had affected Ethan. Maybe I'm just, reading into it too much, but he was loose and limber and really enjoying his time in the bowl, and it's hard to think of a wave that really suits him better. Let's put the spotlight on his signature hack, because the whip and pivot of it into the coping, like, it's sublime. Like, it's that fanning karate kick snap to coping grind that was kind of Fanning's go-to, point earner, but it's got extra mayo on it. It's just phenomenal how he whips the turn and slides the fins to the absolute limit of control and then feels them bite and just whips out of the turn with even more speed and impeccable flow. Just that feeling of being able to control a slide like that and wait for the fins to re-engage and kick out of the turn with a little like Cobra-esque snap and increase his momentum down the line. It's flawless surfing. It's futuristic surfing. And it really is far, far above and beyond what anyone else is doing in the world right now.
Yeah, you would dead set think we've seen it all on rail, man. And he makes you feel like the world is only just starting to open up. Like, are we starting to sort of see into another cosmos or another realm through this like black hole that is the rail of the fucking rail shaman? Because that's what it feels like. Like, you're dead right. That those kind of minute little body tweaks, they're so effortless for him. Like, it just seems to come as like a sixth sense, and there's no real projection in like look and toey to get past seggies. Like, there were moments where like other surfers were just so horny to get out to that bowl before it'd flatten out. You only get one or two seggies on that wave, 3 at best. And you could see the desperation in other surfers. Ethan's just like generating that much horsepower out of these almost just like nothing movements. Fanning kind of has it a little bit. Parko, obviously. Geordie's got it a bit, but they're a little more swoopy. Seems like Ethan just generates it purely out of this, this fucking otherworldly understanding of how rails work.
And
like it's like it's tapped into, it's just in such a different space, man. And it really is, as you say, like fucking progressing what we thought we knew about rail surfing, because it is futuristic, man.
And at this level, you just can't fall. Like, and he didn't in that heat. And I guess like it's worth mentioning the 933 backed up by the 8.5 opened him up, loosened him up to be able to take some risks. And that's what he did. I guess there was an element of risk to that final turn, the turn of the year so far,
Mm.
that maybe he wouldn't have been able to engage that level of risk without having that solid base of scores already. So that's a good formula for him moving forward. Just to build a house and then know that just to free him up to take a little bit of risk, because once he does enter into that realm of putting it fully on edge, no one can come near him. Like, that is the level of surfing that's going to win a world title. It has to. I mean, fuck, it's a trippy one thinking that it's all going down at Cloudbreak where he's going to be backside. But yeah, like it'll get him there. It'll get him to the number one seed in the world heading into that kind of surfing. Just having a solid base and being open and free enough to be able to just throw the kitchen sink at it.
You know what, man? There's another little element to this Aussie leg. Like, all these waves play to his strengths, right? Like, so he's got a real chance to make proper moves up that rankings towards that final five. I think he's in it already. But the Stratty crew came down in force, man. They were down there just fucking going off, mate. They did not miss a party. I've heard they've already booked hotels on the Goldie, so that'll be pretty hilarious as well to see, that hometown crowd, that island energy just fucking getting in behind him as he sort of looks to erase that stumble in the next heat against Kanoa, because fuck, fair enough, man. Like, hard to maintain that energy. The next day, after that day of just pumping waves where we saw like the craziest surfing in the bowl, it wasn't just Ethan. There was a lot of stuff going down that was cool. But yeah, the energy the next day felt like going to where the party had been the night before. Like, the whole day felt flat, even despite the fact that there was opportunities around. It just didn't feel like. It felt like the whole contest was a bit hungover. Super trippy, but not surprising to me that Ethan kind of got brought undone by someone just a little bit more scrappy in that Kanoa heat.
Yeah, we'll get into it. It was my best heat of the event in the men's, purely because Kanoa surfed the perfect heat.
Yeah.
His strategy was flawless, and he completely unsettled Ewing. He created the reverse situation of what I was describing being Ewing's ideal situation, where he's got a solid base that he can build on. Kanoa managed to erode that, sell him on poor waves, put him out of rhythm, and dump loads of pressure on him, and it brought him unstuck when you thought he was absolutely unbeatable. But before we get to that, just a quick shout out to Jake Marshall too. He put up a huge number in the round of 32 against Jiao Chanka, an 18.33, which featured a 9 and a 9.33. And the 9 featured the creamiest of carves in the bowl into a vicious and perfectly timed layback snap. That was the money combo of the event. If you could unlock that big carve straight into the big snap, where the carve where they cut it a little bit short and don't end up behind the phone, they're able to kind of S-turn their way back up the face and straight into a snap and get that bingo bango on the bowl. That was fucking
it's
money.
A full chicane turn, isn't it? Like, it's one of those little pivots that just slingshots you if you get it right. And fuck, he's a good surfer, man. Like, when you're watching, like, I know I'm going on about it, but watching the nines go down in real time, like with your own eyes, especially if you're straight on. Like the Bell's camera angle typically looks a little bit into the wave. You do get the replays of the straight on. But if you're just basically standing on the stairs looking at Bell's as a pretty much a point, the speed and down the line, like, fucking genius of those particular waves was baffling, man. Like, you were just going, what the fuck? This guy rips, bro. Like, undeniable surfing. Sick.
Incredible. And in the women's, for me, it was Breezer Hennessy's 9.4. Given the circumstances, the best wave surfed by a woman on tour this year, and it might not be beaten. It was a heartbreaker for us in the Sally Fitz camp, but a well-earned victory to Breezer. There was 7 on the clock remaining. She needed a 9.17 to advance. She'd been behind the 8 ball all heat, but managed to find a bomb, stayed high on the takeoff, got a 6 speed line off the bottom into a big carve, wrenched back toward the foam, straight into a huge vert snap, straight into a wrap, and a closeout foam climb. It was the biggest wave of the heat, perfect flow, critical, committed, high octane clutch surfing. The 9.4 got her the score and the win. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and best of all, mate, like what has been the weakness for Breezer over the last 2 years? It's been that we just felt like she was so good at being consistent, but just lacked a little bit of attack dog and a bit of mongrel. That's the first time I've seen her fight away out of a corner and do it in a style that like had, okay, yeah, that's why Breezer makes the top 5, but also why she can now win the world title, because Cloudbreak, man, is her backyard. That's where she grew up. Her dad lives on Namotu. She spent all of COVID, the entire lockdown, on Namotu surfing Cloudbreak every fucking day. And now that she's got that, there's definitely been an attitude shift in Breezer. Like, she's the nicest person in the whole wide world. Like, fully just so delightful. But that was the first time I was going, yes! Get a little bit of cunt about you. That's what you need. But how good was it to see Sally? That was a sick heat, man. I love that heat. And Sally surfed out of her skin too. She was really going for it. I think she started to believe she was going to win that comp. Such a heartbreaker. But if you're going to go down to a full-blown knockout punch. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That was also my best heat for the women's. As you mentioned, Fitz got on a roll at the start, dropping big numbers, pulled that billboard style snap of hers, that signature kind of body positioning she can get into for a 7, kept priority, used it on a bomb, glued 2 6 swerves and a committed end section layback fin drift for an 8.17 and was absolutely feeling it at this point, as you mentioned. It's cool to see too. The Aussies seem to grow a foot taller on home soil. Like, we love it at Bells. We love being back home in that temperate climate, out of the tropics, just like, clean air, just clean everything, no plastic and fucking sewage pouring out onto the beach, and just solid, reliable food that'll keep your guts intact. But Breezer, she was sitting on a pretty unremarkable 6 from earlier on in the heat, and with 8 on the clock, needed the 9.17, went for broke, got the 9.4, went down to the final exchange. Sally got a shot on the buzzer, managed a few carves and a nice drop wallet, and went all out on the end section, but couldn't pull it. I think she needed a low 7. It was never going to be the score. Breezer wins. Crazy heat.
Crazy heat. Another heat I just wanted to give a doff to is the Robbo versus Felipe heat, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen anyone get more just locked up in a fucking stranglehold, and Felipe could not even get his hand up to Robbo's shoulder to fucking tap out. Robbo absolutely suffocated him, never even gave him a sniff. And at that point, from the day before, you were dead set going, fuck, Phil's surfing himself back into top shape here, man. Like, he looked incredible the day before, like started to see glimpses of world title Phil. And man, when he's on rail and he's locked in and he's just got that perfect stance, just full acceleration, and he's just clicking into that rail, like he's as fucking pound for pound as good as anyone. But Robbo absolutely fucking left him unconscious, dude. And one thing that no one saw was this is how much it meant to Phil. Like he was getting here kind of around the sort of the top 10, I guess, maybe just inside the top 10 coming into this event, started to feel it, started to feel good, paddled out and got bent over and just completely reamed by the Vortex Shaman. Strategically, he comes flying up the stairs, Smithy, goes into the fucking athlete area, and for 45, 50 seconds, it sounded like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon where, like, the fucking fight goes into the doghouse and it's just going, boom, pop. It was going mate, he must have smashed 3 boards. It was 45 seconds of fucking carnage. You just start seeing athletes just slowly moseying out of the joint. Like, not joking, dude, until it was empty. Someone was holding Zen, Robbo's kid. They like walked out of there and was like, holy moly. And no one went in there. And then Robbo finally came up the stairs, walked straight in. And I don't know what happened in there, but eventually Phil kind of walked out with his hoodie over and all these boards and trundled off up the hill, which is another little aspect of Bells. It's just so fucking sick. Once you lose, bro, you are doing the full walk of shame from the athlete area at the bottom of the stairs, up through past all the judges and the fucking admin, past all the grandstands, through the fucking crowd and the jumbotron, all the way up the car park. And as you're putting your boards in the car, cunts have got their cameras out filming you. You're just like, oh, no wonder people hate fucking losing at Bells, dude. Like,
that's the best.
It's the public filleting. It's like old school medieval. Line the streets, get your rotten fruit. Let's peg this fucking cunt to death.
How good is it too when that slow chant starts up? No, 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 no. Hey, goodbye, Puckerist. Yeah, mate, he's not in a good way, I don't reckon, Phil. Like, he doesn't look at all at the level right now to compete for a world title. And that heat in particular, you really just got to see how elevated Jack's lineup and Ocean IQ is in this event compared to Toledo. Like, and if you're not fully locked in to that level, Robbo is going to spank you, and he's going to do it by mastering the conditions, mastering the rhythm of the ocean, and with it, priority. And that's what he did in that heat. He absolutely spanked Toledo. He was in rhythm from start to finish, didn't even give him a sniff. It was a great performance. I noticed too a bit of a theme, like that it's really hard to produce scores in the excellent range under pressure. So those who struck first and decisively and dropped solid scores seemed to get the win. Paradoxically, when totals seemed out of reach, that seemed to free up surfers to also do their best surfing. I think Breeza Hennessy's almost an example of that. Like, she wasn't needing a mid-range score. She was needing a 9. So it's, you're not really expected to win at that point. You can go absolutely ham, and if it sticks, you're good and you win. Back to the Toledo outburst, though. Do you reckon they need some kind of like Bruce Lee crash test dummy style thing just to go ham on, just to rip shreds off, bite the ears off it, just something to just pound in there to preserve the sharp eyes?
Yeah, it's a really good idea, man. I mean, I do, we've seen a lot of that now. We've seen fucking the Red Bull athlete zone just be treated like pretty much a crash test dummy when surfers are fucking pissed off. And I don't know, it's actually kind of fucking funny. Like, when you're down there, you're feeling for them, but at the same time, you're going, wow, this is a king melt. It was cool,
Jeez,
man.
It's great theatre. It's great theatre, yeah.
Epic theatre, yeah. And, fuck, fair enough.
It's been happening since day dot. Yeah, the Freddie P's of this world have absolutely set the bar pretty high for post-heat spaz outs. But I reckon, as much as we used to kind of, one of his great post-heat spaz outs, of course, Freddie P at Bells or Winky, was it, blowing up deluxe about the commentators having Owen Wright's balls in their mouth. But obviously you can hear in the show intro, the regular intro. But yeah, you wonder whether, these Brazilians like Italo's had a couple of psycho melts, board snappers. It's pretty fucking, I don't know, man, snapping boards, like, give it away, dude. Fucking, give that board to someone.
To be fair, Phil gave away a couple of boards just to little sort of 7-year-old girls who were wearing his jersey before the dummy spit. Like, he was, and his demeanor at the event was fucking epic, dude. And I really, when I saw Phil for the first time, I was like, fuck, how you going, man? And he was so happy, dude. And he was like fully getting around the comp, super stoked, definitely not faking it, like definitely not putting on a show or anything. Like, he was rolling with all the other Brazilian surfers, coming down, hanging out with kids, like just high-fiving every kid. Like I said, he creased the board early, met this little girl who had a Toledo jersey on and just gave it to her. Like, fucking cool shit, man. Ian Gentile did another fucking cool thing. He met this grommet who had come all the way down from Sydney to watch the surfing. And when it moved to Winky Pop, the kid couldn't see. You can't see the surfing unless you're in the car park. So then you're not really getting to see the surfers or anything like that. And he just was like, fuck it, I'll get this Grom a pass, and took him down onto the stairs. And he was sitting next to me on the glass all day. And there was so much of that going on, man. I was really impressed with the lack of like velvet rope between the surfers interacting with crew. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that somewhere maybe deep in their minds, they know they're going to lose and have to do that walk. Because, you know, if you know that's coming at some point, then you probably like don't want people to fucking be, yeah, that's right, cunt. Fucking go home. Check you later on the bus. Because the Stone and Wood bar is exactly halfway up that hill, and you know what Aussies are like on the piss, about fucking 3:34 in the arvo.
Awful.
Yeah. So pretty classic. Oh
yeah. Oh, good on Phil. I mean, that's great because he's given away too, so that entitles him to snap to in a post heat spaz out.
And you know those boards that he snapped have probably ended up in the midst of Groms as well. Yeah, lots of jerseys, you know, as soon as the surfer would leave, lots of jerseys getting peeled off, given to the first kid on the beach. Like, really good shit, man. Fuck, it was a good little reminder that, I don't know, there's a lot of gratitude from these people and what they're actually doing and how easy it is to set off other people. It was nice to see, bro.
Interesting too that Toledo's in such high spirits around the contest site, but you know, cops a loss like that where he was just purely outclassed by a guy who's in way better touch and rhythm than he is and loses his shit. Makes me kind of think of Cosmo Kramer in his Serenity Now phase, where he was super happy and happy-go-lucky, and everything was just brushing off. And the Serenity Now, Insanity Later, as the saying goes. I'm sure that the sound effects of Toledo smashing up the boardroom probably sound a lot like Kramer smashing up all of Lloyd Braun's computers in his apartment after that infamous episode.
Yeah. It was just one of those moments. He wasn't the only one who had a dummy spit in there, but that was definitely the longest and most committed one. He let fly, bro. There's one other heat. I know that we talked a lot about EE, but I was talking to Adam Robbo, right, who finished second at Bells to Parko in, what year was that, 2009 or 2012?
Yep.
One of those years.
09, I believe. Yeah.
09, yeah. And he said to me, he goes, I know we're all talking about Ethan, but he goes, that wave of fucking Connor O'Leary, which he got like an 8 for. If you want, like, fair enough. The judges couldn't probably go much higher, but man, oh man, that was one of the best backhand attacks I've seen in the bowl in years. He's like, I don't know if you can hit it any more crisp or perfect than that. And I was like, that's worthy of a shout because, watching it was insane. It's just happened that he came up against a fucking absolute tour de force.
Oh yeah,
big man,
mate. 3 of the most vertical, powerful back-to-back clubs in the bowl. Insane surfing. He does have to come up with the kind of consistency and like just he seems to fall in opportune situations. I mean, which is not really to throw shade at him. It's just that's where the level is. You literally can't fall at that level. If you want to be like quarters and north, it's like no mistake surfing. And it's so hard. Like, for the punters out there in your regular free surfs, like think about how many falls you have in a session. Like fucking hell. At that level, the level of consistency, their ability to hit it with the level of commitment that they do and never have a bobble, never have a fall. The judges fucking rinse you for any imperfections.
Yeah, you're right. There was one thing that caught me slightly off guard, but which I was happy to see, was that there were bobbles and bogs in some of the high-scoring numbers. Like Robbo was a good case in point on the day where Ethan went mad. He paddled out and a bit of devil wind came up the face and his rail turns kept sort of catching or losing the fins. And he was in real time, you couldn't really see it. Like it was just such big, powerful fucking, the way that he was even able to re-engage and pull the turn back through was so sick. And the judges were actually given the high risk, the score, but the technique wasn't perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting point because the arc of the turn is so flawless, but he's hitting ribs and he's wobbling a little bit, and even that crazy full-blooded hack to the lip he did, where he kind of I don't know if you'd call it a bog. Like it's almost like he hits a very awkward looking lump of water and manages to power through it and get a smooth transition out of the turn. So it's like, do you penalize him for inevitable kind of bumps and wobbles that are in the wave face? Like it's unavoidable that there's going to be a little bit of like kind of imperfection because of the conditions, but the
Yeah.
surfing itself is still close to flawless.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. And I thought for the most part the judging was fucking so good in this comp. I'm trying to think of there was probably a couple of heats that could have gone either way, but for the most part, like it was really, really good. Because I did appreciate the fact that when you've got Devil Wind, man, there's fucking what more can you do? If you're going to commit to the rail and try and fucking do the biggest turn you can do, then yeah, you're probably at some point going to push it just a touch too hard. And the fact that Robbo has that ability to just make a mistake look like an intentional part of his surfing, pretty impressive. So that was cool.
Just a quick spotlight on the Ewing Kanoa heat too.
Yeah.
If you just want an idea of how to unsettle Ewing and surf the perfect heat when you're up against a guy who's absolutely in peerless form. So basically it goes down, Kanoa's start to this heat is the only mistake he makes. I think he gets a 2 off the bat. Ewing's on a smaller wave, a smallish wave with great tempo, a variety of stabs, snaps, and slashes for a 7. Kanoa is on the next one. Big lip glide, snap, a couple of nice carves, and a big critical lip grind to finish for a 7.5. And he has that slight edge and now begins to apply pressure to Ewing. I think Ewing has priority at this point, and Kanoa manages to sell him on a small one. And I think even as Ewing's taken off on it, he's like, fuck. He's sold me here. He does a couple of floats and a clunky snap, and it's the first time you've seen any like fracture in Ewing surfing. And it's pretty much the first time he's been put under any pressure. And Kanoa's on the very next wave, a big carve in the bowl, that sick signature snap to finish. Love that position he gets into. Super classic. That's a 7.89. Ethan's on the next one, and the pressure is fully showing at this point. He falls on one of those signature layback snaps, loses priority on a shit one, and just ends up in this awful rhythm in the last 10 minutes. He only needs an 8.4, which obviously he can get in his sleep. He gets a frothy kind of bumpy bells one, rips off a big hook to slash it and a fin drift on the finish to reduce the requirement to 7.97. Gets back out into the lineup and straight into a huge set, like probably the biggest set of the day. And it's amazing. Kanoa's ability to leave this wave and give it to Ewing, I thought was one of the great moments of surfing strategy in the event. Like the biggest wave of the heat, steam in towards the bowl. For all money, a surfer with any less heat savvy and heat IQ than a guy of Kanoa's stature, who's always there at the pointy end. He's a silver medalist. He's such a student of the game. He's got Snake in his corner, as does Ewing, but leaves that wave, identifies that it might be too big for the bowl, which it was, and yeah, just managed to keep Ewing off. I think maybe there was I don't know if Ewing ends up going that one either. I think Ewing doesn't go, and then Kanoa holds priority, uses it on the final wave of the set, and which was a wave that probably did have the scoring potential for an 8. So just, I don't think he surfed better than Ewing necessarily, but he really got it right, man. Just got the strategy so right.
Yeah, he just didn't let Ethan have his own way. And like everyone else kind of just was having to sit back and just watch him just dismantle the entire setup heat after heat. And applying pressure to Ethan, because I think his go-to, like his I'd say 80% of the time his go-to would be 2 best waves, get on those, I'll win. And if you can kind of start applying pressure before those 2 waves come and sort of getting his head about, fuck, do I have to get it on the inside? Do I have to get it? It just fucks with his whole process a little bit. In those particular conditions, it worked really, really well.
Yeah, got the win by 0.5 of a point, I think it was. And a special mention to Morgs, the Morgs Geordie heat. was a cracker. Just a cracker for Morgs, let's say. A slow start, but Morgs managed to drop an absolute hammer on the end section. Wish he was fuck, mate. I think he had the turn of the event up until that Ewing one, and that kind of like upside down end section demolition, which was in the opening round or the round of 32.
Yeah, that was sick.
But yeah, a bit of a sleepy heat, but Morgs, managed to hold on. There was a pretty crazy, a number of crazy exchanges, and went right down to the buzzer. But mate, Morgs is back.
Yeah, man. He dropped a fucking classic line from the Rob Machado line in Shelter. What are you gonna do? Get mad at the ocean? Remember that line? And he dropped that in his post heat. Because he came on after the thing when he was signing autographs with the Groms, and I was like, fucking oath, get angry at the ocean, Morgs. Fucking oath, get angry, brother. Who was the biggest stitch up? Oh, the poor cunt was ripping. I swear the bell was right there for him too. He looked so up for it. Dead right, he's back. But the best thing was his energy around the comp, like around the actual athletes area and all that. Like, Smithy, he did not have one bit of self-conscious energy, nothing. He was like the Morgs of old, like fucking bit of staunchiness, little bit of fucking heaps of laughs. He's got this thing where after he talks, he goes, hey, like that. So every time someone talks to him, he goes, yeah, man, what do you reckon? Like that. And it's just this fucking, he's got his like fucking Kavorka back, dude. He's got the fucking spirit animal. It's back, and you can feel it around him, and everyone's stoked to have him there. Like, there's no surfer on tour who doesn't love seeing those fucking pearly whites come fucking sauntering into the area and chuckling and laughing and having a ball.
And he's got that spice.
He's having fun. He's having fun.
And when he's having fun, when he's confident, he's got that spice. He's got that X factor in his surfing. It's so surgical and clean and powerful. He hits it with peerless accuracy and power. Like that upside down closeout bash was fucked up. That was like, somewhere in the world, a morbidly obese Dane Reynolds was chuckling while nursing a Coors Light on his knee. That reminded me a little bit of that turn at Haleiwa, Dane's one ages ago, where he fucking pulls off the lip desecration of all desecrations.
And you know what else? He pay real close attention to Morg's bottom turns, dude. He's got this ability to look like he's on the razor's edge every single time he comes off the bottom. So it adds this element of danger to whatever comes after. And because he follows it usually with like a pinpoint, like sting, like you say, like he hits it so perfectly with so much power, it just looks fucking sensational. Like it's got so much like energy behind it. But yeah, check out Morgie's bottom turn, man. It's almost like, when you're going so fast on your skater, you're getting the death wobbles. Like that's how he comes off the bottom. Even as deep as he pushes it, it still looks like he's about to hit terminal velocity. And that's what sets up that sort of like really explosive top turn. It's mental.
Totally. He pushes it to the outermost limits of control, and that's where you need to be to get big scores at this level. But the problem is it relies on so much confidence and intuitive read to pull off that kind of surfing. So when you like mentally and psychologically a little bit off, that kind of surfing, it just doesn't gel. It doesn't happen for you. It's so high risk and so intense. The G forces at play that the minorest imperfection is enough to throw you off. And that's where he's been for the last few years. I don't know what the secret is to unlocking that in a kind of perpetual way.
Do you want me to? I can give it to you, man. I was hanging out with Cal Robbo, the great fucking grit merchant from Evans Head. Former Evans Head Bombers 5'8". And he was saying that him and Morgs fucking have been spending heaps of time together. They went onto the job site. They fucking did proper work, in that sort of downtime. And Morgs started to feel grateful for the fact that he was surfing and having a crack at it rather than feeling like, what have I got to lose? So believe it or not, man, that grit was fucking earned. It didn't just like appear out of nowhere, and it's not like he's on a hot one. It's like, nah, this is fucking sick. So yeah, him and Cal have really identified where they want to be and how to get there. And the number one ingredient is gratitude to fucking be doing what they're doing and not fucking bent over backwards with a shovel doing those sorts of days. Because, yeah, I mean, they'll go back to that when they need to remind themselves. Guaranteed.
Mate, I love that. That's so interesting too. And just from a psychological perspective, like gratitude and anxiety run down the same pathways in the brain. So, you can swap one out for the other pretty easily. And without having to mix mud on a job site and go through that, the hardship of the working class grind, and have that gratitude, often you can end up surfing in a place of fear and anxiety and this kind of like panic stricken style of surfing, like a fear of, I don't know what that fear is, what manifests that fear, but once you know how hard life is and for everyone else and can be for you in some weird way, that's liberating because you've got one shot at it and you just got to enjoy that moment and enjoy the process as opposed to, like he looked like he was surfing from a place of fear and confusion and anxiety. And now he's enjoying it so much. Also, big doff of the cap to the appointment of Nathan Hedge in his corner and in the Surfing Australia ranks. About time.
Yeah.
What a great appointment that is. And mate,
you'll be glad to know the first thing the Hoggy did, Smithy, was just take a fucking couple of shovels and wheelbarrows into the HPC, get rid of the foam and just drop the gravel straight into the fucking skate pit.
Perfect. Throw a couple of Groms head first, give him a couple of scorpions straight into the grit. That'll get it into him.
That's it, mate.
Epic. Best performance for Izzy Nichols for mine in the women's, obviously the event winner, and just put on a clinic of disciplined, high-pressure ripping. That was just her formula. She talk about not falling. Fucking hell, she could not fall on the finals day. Did it the hard way too. Beat Erin Brooks early on, and just also managed to knock out Gabriella Bryan, who's the form surfer of the women's draw, in my opinion. And that was revenge for their final at El Salvador, where Bryan got the nod. And yeah, just a point break specialist, Izzy Nichols. She's so calm and measured. She had a great tempo in the Bells Bowl, full of confidence. She's in career best form at the moment on the back of a runner-up at El Salvador. We're now moving to Burley, another right point followed by Margs, another predominant right reef with plenty of push that she's won. Yeah, back in 2022. And her performance at Bell's interesting. She revealed after the event that she's been doing like 15 years worth of coaching clinics down there. She's working with Adam Robertson, the guy you mentioned, 2009 runner-up from the trials, Cale Bell Warren, another local guy down there. So she's put in more reps in that lineup, maybe than anyone else, bar maybe a Tyler Wright. And just an incredible performance, man. She's fucking in such good touch at the moment.
Yeah, Magic Carpet too. That's the board she won Narrabeen on. That's the board she came second on in El Salvador. DHD, a little bit longer, 5'11", drawing out the turns, putting her in the just effortless spot. And I thought that she had really discovered the Steph line out there. Like Steph had this turn out there where she'd fang it into the bowl and just put it just under the lip, but right where it's sort of all girthy. So she's just in that little power pocket and just draws the turn out through there. It looks so good, man. The swoop was not unlike Steph Gilmore when she engaged. Like once she went into the turn, there was like full shades of Steph at her best out there. But she was also going vert on big sections and throwing hammers, man. So, yeah, good stuff. Like, what a performance from falling off tour, getting on the Challenger Series. I mean, between her, Sally, and Erin last year, they fucking sewed up that Changers before anyone even had a sniff at qualifying. And it's good to see that she's like converting that into a CT run that could end at Cloudbreak.
In the men's, it was Jack Robinson, my best performer, the Vortex Shaman.
How good is he?
He's so good. He did it the hard way too. Had the hardest draw of anyone coming up against both competition heavyweights and the red hot form surfers in the event. Every heat, he took down every giant that come his way. The most consistent surfer of the event. More excellent heat totals than any other surfer. He put up a 16.13 to get past the Hawaiian prodigy Jackson Bunch in the round of 32, who looked super sharp and put up pretty solid numbers himself, a 14-plus total. Spanked Toledo in the round of 16. Got past Jake Marshall, who was the form surfer of the event, apart from Ethan Ewing, in a pretty tight one in the quarters. Come up against Griffin Colapinto in the semis. How's the names just keep on coming?
Yep.
And that's one of the great seething rivalries, isn't it? Like, they're always in the pointy end together. They're often coming up against each other. They've been in multiple trestle surf-offs, and you can tell they just want to beat each other so bad. Griff dropped an 8 to kick things off. And then, I think Jack, managed to hold his nerve and bounce back. I think he dropped a 7 for a sick karate kick snap and that savage carve in the bowl. And I'm just looking at my notes here. Iced a late 7, I believe, with the froth and bump in it to seamlessly put together a solid wave and get the job done under pressure. Clutch scenarios. He lives for him up the Shaman. And then, against Kanoa in the final. Kanoa off to a solid start, but Jack answered and stayed in contact with 6.37. Kanoa up the requirement again, 4 turns on the bowl, tagging the lip with peerless precision and timing. Looking super locked in, really beautiful controlled surfing for a 717. But then Robbo hit back with a couple of savage swerves in the bowl and a layback kapow on the end for a 7.77. And that's where it stayed. He, we know how much Robbo loves the pressure, but he actually put the blowtorch to Kanoa. I think it was 10 minutes Kanoa had, and he had 2 bites of the cherry. I think he produced like a 2 and a 5. He just couldn't come up with the number, which was very gettable. A well-surfed heat. He had that crazy hook in the bowl where he just landed on it that little bit harder.
That's the one. That's, to me,
that turn.
Mate, when I think after the semis, I was going, man, fuck, it just feels like we haven't actually seen your best surfing yet. Like, it feels like you still got a little bit in the tank. And he goes, oh, no, I got fucking heaps in the tank. It was a cool line, but that was the moment. That was the moment the tank got, fucking unleashed. Because, I felt like everything was a little bit wobbly. The opportunity to really like fucking open up was never there. But when he did that turn, you could feel it. You were going, the bell's coming home. Here we go. Because that was the full let rip Smivvy. Like, that was, when you get the gut feels, you go, oh, that felt fucking really good. And it just didn't feel like there was going to be a turn as good as that in the final. So it kind of felt like, Kanoa was going to chase a score that wasn't going to materialize.
Breakthrough performance. Sally Fitz, huge boil over win.
She's back
over Katie Simmers. The vet getting it done over the Grom, the world champ, for the second time in succession. How's them apples? 2-0 over the prodigy for Fitz. Pretty sick too to see the veterans really dominating that round of 16. Brooks getting done by Izzy Nichols. Sally Fitz getting the nod over Katie. I just love seeing that. I love seeing the vets teach the Groms a lesson in how to deal with pressure, and just the fact that, over a decade or more of surfing at that level, like, you can have all the progressive antics and hype on you, but unless you can produce your best under the pump, the vets are going to get the nod. Your breakthrough performer in the women's?
Women's, I guess Sally was incredible. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head if there was anything else that surprised me. Nah, not really. But in the men's, I had Xavier Huxtable Needle, mate. The fucking energy down there was outrageous. As good as you could get at any sporting event. Like, proper seething crowd, like with venom. Like venom to just get rid of, but also just fucking hope and excitement, man. That was one of the best heats to watch. And when he dropped the big hammer out the back, and you were just going, fuck, the tide's still pretty high here. Like, there aren't that many of those sections. He got the one that mattered, fully teed off on it. And then from there, Italo just went to kind of water. There was no seggies for him to get creative or all the energy in the world, man. All the energy in the world gets you kind of nowhere if you're not getting a section. Like, he just couldn't fucking find anything out there. It was pretty interesting, actually. He just that's the worst he's looked all year by far. Million years.
A high tide, super slow heat, where Xavier really capitalized on the limited scoring opportunity
Yeah.
available. And then, as karma would have it, the exact same thing happened to Xavier in the very
Yep.
next heat. He didn't get the rub of the similar kind of lully conditions. But yeah, incredible performance. So sick to see these guys, surfing communities, local surfing communities, getting out and supporting and making some racket and creating some energy. We know how much of a difference it makes. Big shout outs also to Morgs and Jake Marshall for some incredible surfing.
Yep.
Biggest surprise, yeah, for me, it was Morgs going as deep as he did, and Sally Fitzgibbon. I was ready to kind of write Sal off after a pretty poor start to the year, but yeah, bounced back with a super gritty performance. And Morgs, as mentioned, yeah, pulled one of the turns of the year so far and going all the way to the semis. Fuck, what a performance. Go on, Morgs, get in some.
Can't. Oh, man, I hope he gets a freaking wild card into these next two events because he's a full crowd favorite. Like Morg's down there. Yeah, he's on Rip Curl, but he walks through the crowd. People see his head. They want a fucking piece of him. He's got that he's got that little X factor about him that people love, Smithy. Maybe it's just the, but he's just a mad dog. And yeah, I hope to see him. Biggest surprise and biggest melt for me both fell into the same category, and that was Molly, man. I was just like, what? She's done so well to turn that, that last year's nightmare after such a strong Hawaiian opening. She's done so well to keep that out of her game. And she opened in that heat with one of the real fucking clubathons that was down at Winky to just put, I think it was, who was it in that heat now? Fucking, was it Luana or? I can't even remember. I think it was Luana Silva, but yeah, it was just so radical to just see her not just lock that off and put it away. So just a little bit of nervy there for Molly. Don't go into the old habits or the old ways. Just get back on the horse and bring your best to Burley.
My pure melt, Vaughan, and I really hate to do this, but it has to be Ramsey Boukhiam.
No.
The guy from Morocco would get skittled on the rocks coming in from Bells and suffer a serious leg injury is so painfully ironic. Like, I don't know if you've been to Morocco, but it is like the absolute mecca of rock offs and rock ons. Like, you can't go down the road to get a goat tagine without scrambling across a bunch of fucking pointy, slimy rocks in your druid robe. It makes the fucking Lennox rock off look like fucking paddling out the pass. Like, it's so psycho. And so to see him get so flexed coming into what is essentially an open beach, mate, just don't walk along the rocks there. Like, you got Southern Ocean behind you. He's looking up to the judges, listening for the score, and gets fully skittled, does his knee. Like, I got to say, if that was me, even if my foot was turning the other way, I would have tried to laugh that off because it was that embarrassing. Like,
oh man,
it was tragic. I felt so bad for him. He's a lovely gent, and I also, I was actually staying at the same hotel as Ramsey. I was watching him tuck into the continental breakfast down there at the Torquay Sands, overlooking the golf club. And, we're a long way out of town. We're about as far away from the Bells Bowl as you can get. And I'm thinking, mate, maybe next time just go Moroccan style, get the goat tagine going in the caves over there at Bells, wrap your druid robe, and just don't take your eyes off the lineup because to come a cropper in those circumstances, wow, that was a melt.
Bring her a little rusty tin full of camel milk and just fucking drop anchor with your druid robes in the cliffs.
Absolutely.
Oh, the poor cunt. Fuck.
Drop a few cobras off the edge.
So I heard he dislocated his knee, and when he was lying there, it was fully it had pushed over onto the side of his leg, and so he was trying to bang it back in, and it was just gnarly. Don't know what the latest update is. I haven't checked, but the rumor getting around was that he wasn't looking like he might not need surgery, so it might just be get the soreness out and get back on the horse or back on the camel or back on fucking whatever it is you got to get back on. But it'd be such a bummer for him to fucking kiss his career goodbye on the back of something like that. That would be shit.
Absolutely. What does it all mean? It means we are back in the spiritual home of pure high performance surfing with the Aussie treble set to be decided by a trio of right reefs and points. Next stop, Burley and Margs after that. And yeah, geez, bodes well for Izzy Nichols, a point break specialist who could lodge herself like immovably deep in the top five with solid performances at Burley and Margs. And given the run she's on, you'd back her to do it. She's feeling it and peerless on any overhead right point right now. In the men's, Italo needs to rally. He's going to be up against it in Ewing and Robbo country, respectfully. What is that?
Respect. Well,
No.
actually, Robbo lives on the Goldie too, so
Yeah, exactly.
he's got 2 hometown events coming up. Ethan's going to have his whole crew. All eyes on Lobby, mate. All eyes on fucking Lobby. That guy surfs so good, and I know he's a little bit lighter than the other crew, and that kind of does work against him from time to time. But we've seen wild cards way back in 81, 82. Peter Harris fucking got through the trials, won the Burley comp. It has happened before. It could happen again, mate. It's that kind of place, Burley. It's got a bit of the bells about it. Like something fucking trippy could go down there.
Absolutely. And mate, interesting too to note, like so many rights in a row. And I was just thinking, like in a bizarro world, can you imagine what the tour might look like were we to visit a string of left reefs and points, like, you know, say like a Peru cloud break reunion island, and what that would do for the likes of Yago, Italo, etc., Connor. Yeah, it's got to be an advantage to the natural footers. It just has to be.
There's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. The 3 rights that we're at are not fucking goof friendly waves, really. I mean, unless you're Occy or Connor, like name, you know, between Burley, even Snapper, you know, like Willie had the tail blow, I guess, and Owen too. But generally speaking, those like short little cupped out down the line waves of the Goldie aren't necessarily goof friendly for everyone. The right at Margaret's, the end section must be so fucking hard to manage on your backhand coming over your shoulder on it. That big TP. And Bells, you know, like fuck, the stats say everything you need to know about that. Like it's 1 in every 5 winners maybe wins Bells on the backhand. So yeah, trippy, man, trippy.
They probably have to address that,
Probably.
and balance things out a bit. And Burley's an interesting one. You know, it's a bit of an unknown. Oh man, you got to go back to the early noughties to find a WCT that was run there. And it's a far more dynamic and changing canvas than Snapper. And I don't reckon any of the tourists and even most of the Aussies will have done many reps at that wave. Which is, it's likely to be an issue. I think it's going to bring some people unstuck. Like it's not a straightforward ruler edge rippable point like Snapper.
Man. And like when we're there for the single fin every year, like how different it is just from high tide to low tide. It's completely different breaks. It's not even the same. You're not surfing the same part of the point at all. Zero. Like at high tide, you're basically like on those little rock runners right along the edge of the point. And at low tide, you're surfing these banks that are way out the back. It's like local knowledge is going to play a part there for sure.
Look at the top 5s as we exit. Bells, Italo holds on to the Jeep Leaders jersey in first on 29,960 points. Ethan Ewing still in second, remains static there on 24,980. Jack Robbo, the big mover, rocketing up the leaders board, 6 places. He's on 23,490 points. And he's so calm. Like, I'm so fascinated by the way he doesn't buy into highs and lows, which is like such a teaching of the ancients and these kind of, ascetic, like meditation kind of disciplines. It's like, it's exactly that. It's not to get too caught up in highs and lows. And he just screams that at the moment. He's so calm and nonplussed and so confident that he's, like you said, he had so much left in the tank in the Bells event. And he just kind of has this like immovable self-belief that regardless of what happens, he was coming off a 17th at El Salvador, a right point, and yet wins the very next event and barely celebrates. Like he just has this pure self-belief in himself and knows, there's a deep knowing that he's going to be there at the end of the year.
Mate, just on that, I read the SwellNet comp report by Steve Shearer this morning, and he was saying that Robbo's been in 10 CT finals, won 8 of them in 5 years.
Wow.
Kanoa Igarashi, who's in the final against him, won his last CT fucking in 20. God, when was that Karamas event? 2019 or something, like pre-COVID. So, I mean, imagine coming up against fucking Robbo in a final. How terrifying that prospect is. 8 out of 10 finals. And as Steve said in his Connie report, he's going, mate, if you had to pick one surfer to surf one heat for your life, if your life depended on it, you're fucking going with Robbo every single day of the week.
Totally. At fourth, Yago Dora on 23,000 points. And at fifth, the big man, Geordie Smith, eliminated by Morgs in the quarters. He's on 22,000 points. And Vaughan, quickly, we got to acknowledge the performance at El Salvador. The big man looking in career best on Graham G-Force's boards. That was an amazing feat to win an event on your dad's boards. So sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as Alfie used to always say to me, Smithy, I was winning heats in Baghdad when you were in your dad's bag.
Mate, and just the purest, smoothest, butteriest big man hacks from the big man with like pirouetting air reverses and fin throws. Like his kit bag is endless in right points, and El Salvador looked so much like a poor man's J-Bay, and unsurprisingly, Geordie and Matty McGilvray, 2 J-Bay specialists, showing up in the final there. But an incredible performance, and yeah, he's in the top 5.
I reckon he's in
a really strong leg. Yeah,
career best form, and probably the main reason for that is because he just looks like he's enjoying it more than anyone else. Like his mood around the comp, so chill, mate, so chill. Like he's walking around just dead set. I'm what's he like? Put him in the orange robes, give him a little tambourine. That's the vibe he's walking around with. Just like, yeah, boys, let's go. I'm ready to surf heats. It's like water off a duck's back, and it's like he's in that Slater letting go headspace, man. Like it's all just fun for him now. And look at the surfing he's dropped this year. Like that plus 27 clip on the back of a CT win, on the back of like going nuts at Bells. Fuck, he's in a good spot, man. Easy to get behind George in this iteration of his career.
What about the string of events too? El Salvador, Bells. Now we go to the Gold Coast where, he spent so many years of his life right at that kind of juncture of the teenage into the 20s. Like he is at home on the Gold Coast as anywhere, another right point. And then Margs, a big open ocean right with tons of push. Like you couldn't have a string of events more tailor-made for the big man to get up ahead of steam and really lodge himself deep in the top 5.
Yeah, and they showed his results at every stop left on this year's tour, and it's first and second at every single one. Like his best result at every stop from now till the WSL finals is either a win or a second. So he's finaled at every spot. In
the women's, Gabriella Bryan holds on to first.
Gets it. Moves into first.
She's on equal first with Katie Simmons. They're both on 31,240 points.
First time in her life that she's ever had the gold yellow jersey, man. So she was frothing when she found out that. That's
right. I thought she had it leading into that event.
No. Katie was was still out in front,
right? And
Molly was in second. So she's overtaken Molly and is on equal points with Katie. Why
are they giving her the yellow leaders jersey then? You'd think the world champ gets to retain it if they're on the same amount of points.
Who knows? Maybe just a better result somewhere in the mix. Not sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sort of.
Well, like
they both won an event each.
Yeah, men's and women's tours have had no repeat winners this year. There's 5. What is it? 5 comps that we've had? Maybe 6. It's six comps, 6 winners, men's and women's.
Yeah, amazing. Katie Simmons in second. Technically, Molly Picklum in third on 28,665 points. Izzy Nichols moves up 3 spots to fourth on 26,200. Tyler Wright, who had a really solid performance at Bells, thought she was surfing amazing, actually. She's in 5th on 26,000. Caroline Marks drops out of the top 5, drops 2 places. She's had a couple of pretty average results, a couple of 9ths. She's on 24,000. So there it is, Warren.
Wow. And Smithy, fuck, mate, that's we're on. It's not just the It's not just the fucking CT heading up to Burleigh, bro. It's you and me, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
You 3 p.m. Friday. So we're commentating the official practice session of the WSL. So everyone's going to be out there shredding. They're shutting down the lineup. You, me, Parko, Willie, and Laura Enova. We're going to have a big screen with all the surfing going on behind us, and we're just going to tell yarns and basically do a live form guide. Whoever takes off on a wave, we can start breaking down sort of what their chances are and all that sort of thing. It's going to be mad, dude.
Yeah, right. Wow, that's a new format. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Live radio, bro.
Sick. Frothing. That's going to be all time.
Sick, man. Well, yeah. See you up there, brother.
See you up there. Yoo-hoo.
Competition surfing. Rashes. Oh, yeah. Baby, I can't get enough. Blitz. Ain't that so presents?
Pure tour nerdism.